Thank you so much for choosing us to inform you tonight. This is Mwangaza Prime News and welcome to the broadcast tonight. My name is Daisy Paul and our sign language interpreter is Naomi Matthew. And on to our first story today, President Uhuru Kenyatta addressed the nation on containment measures today, emphasizing on seriousness as coronavirus infections continue to rise. He therefore extended nationwide curfew for 30 more days and banned alcohol sale in the country, adding that bars remain closed. Eateries and restaurants expected to be closed at 7 p.m. He has warned deviant politicians that police will no longer spare them.
From my consultations with county governors and on the advice of the National Security Council and the National Emergency Response Committee on the coronavirus pandemic, I do further order and direct as follows: that our nationwide curfew shall remain in force for a further 30 days, that there shall be no sale of alcoholic beverages or drinks in eateries and restaurants across the territory of the Republic of Kenya, effective midnight today for the next 30 days. That the closing time for restaurants and eateries has been amended from 8 p.m. to 7 p.m. starting today at midnight for the next 30 days. That all bars shall remain closed until further notice. That the Inspector General of the National Police Service shall cause withdrawal of all licenses for bars operating in breach of this directive, and those withdrawals shall be permanent. That forthwith the Inspector General of Police shall ensure that his officers spare no muheshimiwa, no individual, irregardless of social status or rank, who is either out after curfew without being an essential worker, or who flaunts the health protocols that have been set out. That the National Government Administration officers and the National Police Service will strictly enforce Ministry of Health protocols on public gatherings and particularly funerals. That strict personal sanction will ensue to all police and national administration officers in whose areas of jurisdiction there is a breach of the said guidelines. When we de-escalated 21 days ago, I said that I would not hesitate to re-escalate again if reckless behavior is widespread. Of the recent surge of infections indicates that our socializing without regard to protective behavior, particularly in an environment serving alcohol, is becoming one of the greatest risk factors in our country. As a nation, we are fortunate that the case fatality rate, which currently stands at about 1.6%,
oh my gosh, I'm sorry,
is much lower than the global average. And from our discussions this morning, we think that perhaps it is this relatively low rate that is giving Kenyans false comfort, and I repeat that, false comfort, that this pandemic is not a serious health risk to them and indeed to their families. If someone enters your shop, you want the business, but if he has no mask, you must insist that they wear one. We cannot have a policeman in every street, in every village, in every home to enforce the rules. We need, as citizens, to hold each other accountable.
And we are sorry for that, but that story was about after the president eased the movement. Measures including of cessation of movement into counties considered to have highly spread the virus, which are Nairobi, Mandera and Mombasa. The dilemma has been in the area of economic stability amid the pandemic, with many organizations downsizing and introducing pay cuts and business people taking huge losses due to the ban on public gatherings. Now, that was a report that we missed earlier on. And moving on to another story is that after Uhuru's speech today, Kenyans have showed different reactions on the same. And our reporter Brian Sakwa had a time of engagement with few who gave the following views.
All right, we are right here in the busy streets of Githurai 45. Of course, some of the residents and the traders right here, they had different expectations regarding today's presidential address, because there was that tensed mood at first, because they were expecting that the president will enforce a closure or another countrywide closure so that businesses will not operate to curb the spread of COVID-19. But fortunately, he just extended the normal 30 days curfew, and businesses will go on as usual, apart from the eateries that will also be shutting down at exactly 7 in the PM.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Joseph Kamau. Mimi nafanyaga Githurai market na mimi ni coordinator also. Vile mheshimiwa ameongea, hiyo ndio ile kitu ambayo iko sawa sawa. Kwa vile kama hageongelesha, kama hagenyamaza, unajua mzazi akinyamazia watoto yake ni kufa, lakini president yetu Uhuru Kenyatta tunapenda yeye sana kwa vile ufikiria mambo ya wananchi wake. Naona upande ya virabu hata hiyo hakuna kitu ambayo inasaidia. Hiyo ni ya kutupa watoto yetu, wazazi yetu, kwa vile kuna wengine hata wazee wako la miaka mingi wanashinda wakikunywa pombe. Hata ukimwangalia we mwenyewe hata uone kama ni mtu. Sasa ile kitu ambayo amefanya vizuri ni kuondoa hiyo pombe.
So kwa majina mimi naitwa Joseph Kubende na nafanya kazi katika mtaa wa Githurai, na mimi nilikuwa na complain kidogo kuhusu maamuzi ambayo rais amefanya. At least ule wakati ametusongeshia chini, si wakati angeacha, at least ingekuwa normal, at least kutoka saa 1 jioni ndio at least wa customer wanakuwa wengi mpaka saa 3 hapo. So mimi naonelea kwamba angeacha tu wakati ambao ulikuwa normal. Ona kama sasa mimi napika unga hii sahi na expect by saa 3 kuanzia saa 1:30 saa 2 kufikia saa 3 ndio customer wangu wanaweza kuja, at least wale wa take away.
Mimi naitwa Michael. Mimi ni mfanyi wa biashara hapa Githurai na boda. Tulikuwa tunatarajia afunge. Juu ya vile tulikuwa tunasikia ugonjwa ime-increase, imeenda juu. Lakini imekuwa sio vile tulikuwa tumetarajia.
Jina naitwa Anwanjiru, nauzia hapa mkaji hapa Githurai, nafanya biashara Githurai. Okay, tumefurahia vile president amesema kuhusu venye amesema hajafunga mipaka na curfew itazidi kuendelea. Lakini request yangu ningesema afadhali angetoa curfew, kwa sababu sisi ni wanabiashara, tunafanya kazi hapa Githurai mpaka saa 4. So biashara zimedidimia. Kama ni biashara yenye tunauza ya mtumba haziingii, tunazidi kuumia. Sasa hata kama ndizo mitumba tungeomba aweze kurelease mitumba ziingie, ili wanabiashara wadogo kama sisi tuweze kuendelea na biashara na tuweze kupata riziki yetu ya kila siku.
And those are just some of the reactions from the traders and businessmen right here in Githurai 45. And reporting from Mwangaza TV, I'm Brian Sakwa.
Thank you so much, Brian Sakwa, for that report. Now, the war against coronavirus has received a major boost from the Slovak government, which donated humanitarian aid worth 26 million Kenyan shillings. The donation consisting of testing kits, personal preventive equipment, respirators, sanitizers, clothing and shoes was received by Director of Administration in the Office of the First Lady, Eva Maina. While handing over the donation, Slovakia Ambassador to Kenya, František, said the country is also facing challenges brought about by COVID-19, and the donation is an expression of solidarity with the people of Kenya in the fight against the pandemic.
This donation will enhance our collective fight against the spread of the pandemic in Kenya, especially where it is needed most, the most vulnerable, marginalized communities. Her Excellency, through the Beyond Zero initiative, prioritizes her work in support of women and children, the elderly, and persons with disabilities, especially during this COVID season, pandemic, through food donations and medical supplies. This consignment will help expand her work in this regard.
Also, we in Slovakia, we are having big challenges, and we would like to express our solidarity with the people of Kenya and to show that our relations are really excellent, good. So this is some small, contribution to fight the coronavirus.
This comes in handy at the point where the country is nearing, past the 17,000 mark in terms of positive cases. And the contribution being received here today will definitely go a long mile in being able to defeat coronavirus, in being able to actually fight coronavirus.
And we have a lot of bilateral cooperation in various fields, ranging from agriculture to business to health. And it's all about expanding possibilities and opportunities between our two countries. And therefore, this is yet another step, another gesture of the very strong cooperation between the Republic of Slovakia and the Republic of Kenya.
And with that report, Mwangaza TV is taking a very short break, but don't go too far. We're coming back with much more in a short time.
Unatazama Mwangaza TV, tumaini lako.
There is a God in heaven who hears all of our prayers.
Dunia nzima imekumbwa na mahangaiko, masumbuko mengi, mawazo kuhusiana na majanga yanayokumba wananchi na wanadamu wote. Taifa letu la Kenya pia limekumbwa na majanga haya. Ugonjwa hatari wa corona ama ukipenda COVID-19, mafuriko, nzige, mambo haya yote yamesababisha vifo vya watu wengi, na kote ulimwenguni maelfu wamepoteza maisha. Wakristo nao wakaungana pamoja, makanisa wakiomba kwa sababu ya majanga haya Mwenyezi Mungu akaweza kuyaondoa.
Siku ya Jumanne, maombi kwa taifa yataongozwa na kanisa la Jesus Winner Ministry.
Tuombeni Mungu aiponye nchi yetu.
Oh Baba, tunaomba, asikia, anajibu.
Kilimo ndicho uti wa mgongo hapa nchini, na ili kuhakikisha una ufahamu wa jinsi mimea tofauti inakuzwa, wapi inafaa kukuzwa, lini na wakati mwafaka wa kuvuna, Mwangaza TV tunatembea kila pembe ya nchi na kukuletea wataalamu wa kilimo na mifugo ili kuhakikisha wamekuelezea vya kutosha kuhusu kilimo na ufugaji.
Kilimo ndicho uti wa mgongo hapa nchini, na pia tegemeo ya wengi kujinufaisha na pia kujipatia chakula. Ungana nami Wanjiko Bogo kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 2:15 katika kipindi Dhahabu ya Ukulima ndani ya Mwangaza TV.
Unatazama Mwangaza TV, tumaini lako.
Many thanks for staying with us. This is Mwangaza Prime News. Moving forward, ODM leader Raila Odinga has asked senators to pass the formula proposed by the Commission on Revenue Allocation. In a statement, Raila said that the Senate should allow the country to move forward after failing to agree on its own amendments.
ODM party leader Raila Odinga has weighed in on the country revenue sharing formula standoff, asking the Senate to pass the recommendations by the Commission for Revenue Allocation (CRA) and allow the country to move forward.
Honorable Senators, get ready to vote.
Odinga says the current stalemate is causing paralysis and mistrust, a time the country needs to be united and focused on tackling the COVID-19 pandemic, currently threatening lives and livelihoods.
And therefore, from where I sit, I think this is a good time for us to continue the engagement, and so that maybe, God willing, maybe in the next 2 or 3 days or even 1 week, we can come up with a proposal which is agreeable to each and every senator. Thank you.
What's your point of order, Senator Juriat?
Madam Speaker, I have a point of order. This House works through its committees. I can confirm that of the 2 or 3 proposals that are before the order paper, we never considered them as a committee of finance. It is dangerous, Madam Speaker, because I have seen an even further trend where now senators are walking with pieces of paper and saying, your county is gaining 1,000, please support.
I beg to plead with the House that we give ourselves more time to look at these new simulations by the 3 distinguished senators and also to build consensus. At the end of the day, the resolution will not be a resolution of one single senator. It will be the resolution of the Senate.
Odinga says the concerns are currently being raised by senators opposing the proposed revenue formula should instead be forwarded to the CRA for consideration in its future recommendation. Odinga maintains that the resources currently being recommended by CRA can adequately serve counties if corruption is eliminated by heavily punishing those who perpetuate plundering of public funds.
Okay, honorable senators.
On his Twitter handle, Deputy President William Ruto termed the ongoing revenue formula debate unnecessary, divisive, adding that the Constitution envisages a fair and equitable sharing of all our resources and challenged Parliament to play its rightful role in the process. This latest development comes as Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala wants Senator Majority Leader Irungu Kang'ata to stop intimidating the Senate to approve the formula.
There has been a wild speculation that Kakamega County is going to benefit, yet as the Senator for Kakamega County, I'm opposed to that formula. I want to make it vividly clear here today that I am not opposed to Kakamega County benefiting. In fact, I want Kakamega County to benefit even more resources. But we shall not have a formula whereby Kakamega benefits and our neighbors, Vihiga, are losing. We have crafted a formula that is going to amicably sort out this quagmire. A formula that is going to make sure that all counties benefit, including Kakamega County.
Mary Kinyanjui reporting for Mwangaza Prime News.
Honorable Senators, get ready to vote.
Thank you so much, Mary Kinyanjui, for that report. Now, a blogger has been detained for 2 days after stating that CS Fred Matiang'i is admitted at Aga Khan Hospital ICU battling COVID-19 on his Facebook page known as Daily Star. In an early application filed at Milimani Law Courts, the DCI says investigations are not complete and he requires sufficient time to complete the same.
Freelance journalist accused of publishing false information about Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i will spend 2 days in police custody. Isaac Kibet Yego detention at Muthaiga police station in Nairobi will allow police to finish their probe into allegation that he wrote and published false information on Facebook. Police requested 14 days to investigate the matter, but Milimani Chief Magistrate Martha Mutuko said on Monday there was no justification for that.
But taking into consideration when the arrest was made,
Magistrate noted Mr. Yego mobile phone and laptop were earlier confiscated for analysis. Rumor had it that the CS, who chairs National Emergency Response Committee on COVID-19, was sick with coronavirus and was fighting his life in intensive care unit. He dismissed the claim as false and blamed the individuals, saying they were part of the scheme to humiliate him and his family.
Your Honor, we further oppose this application for the reason that Your Honor, the investigation authority have the duty to conclude the investigations on a suspect, Your Honor, before they be arraigned in court.
He claimed their goal was to ensure he lost the focus on the assignment given to him by President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Reporting from Mwangaza Prime News at 9, I am Wanjiko Mbogo.
Thank you, Wanjiko Mbogo, for that report. Now, CID officers accused of shooting dead 2 people in Sokongombe in the outskirts of Garissa town failed to appear in court today as expected. The Garissa Law Courts compound was jammed as early as 8 a.m. with family members, relatives, friends and curious onlookers who wanted to have a glimpse of the suspects. According to a senior officer involved in the investigation who spoke to the press, security concerns may delay the arraigning of suspects in court.
Investigations will be done, and I assured them that they'll be done in the right way. And for that matter, we've got 2 people, or in fact 2 groups of people that have come all the way from Nairobi for the same investigation, and I want to believe that the 2 officers that are here with us are competent enough to do a good job. So I've assured them that nothing will be left untouched to make sure that if someone did a mistake or someone committed an offense, they'll be taken to court and the law will take its course. I assured them that the 2 officers that are believed to have been involved in this particular shooting have been put in cells. Investigations are going on soon or later. They are going to appear in court. We also agreed with the family members that because they were also accompanied by some local politicians who also appear to be part of the family, that now that this one has happened, they should go and talk with their clansmen to try and convince them to stop the ongoing demonstrations, because they took place on that particular day of the incident, and they continued yesterday, and we were hearing that they are also planning to do it today. We have agreed through their representative that they'll talk to them and this one will stop forthwith. And I think that one is a very good gesture, because what we are avoiding, the 2 have already died. They have already been buried. We really apologize to them for the unfortunate thing that happened. In fact, me personally, on behalf of the government and on behalf of my team here, we said pole to them for what happened. And we said we'll help them the much that we can to make sure that everything is done the way it's done.
A 39-year-old woman by the name Jemima Oresha drowned at the world-famous Thompson's Falls in Nyahururu town while taking pictures with her brother. As she was standing on a stone near the river, which is located at the bottom of the falls, she slipped and fell into the river. According to Mr. Zablon Mungafu, the victim's brother, he was taking a photo of his sister when the photo session turned tragic. He says the victim had traveled to Nyahururu town from Kitale in Trans Nzoia County to visit some of her relatives who live in Nyahururu and was set to return to Kitale today.
Sasa tukaenda Kirurumo. Wakati tulienda Kirurumo kwa ile harakati ya kupiga picha, akateleza akaanguka kwa maji na akapelekwa na maji. Wakati tutoka nyumbani akiwa na furaha, akasema anataka kwenda Thompson Falls. Nikampeleka huko, tukalipa, tukaingia, akasema anataka kupelekwa hapo chini ili aweze kupigiwa picha hapo. Ingawaje tulikuwa tumemaliza, lakini ni bahati tu mbaya aliweza kuteleza na kaanguka kwa maji. Lakini nashukuru kwa support ambayo reception ilichukua, kakuja, tulipiga report kwa reception, wakakuja wakatusaidia, wakapiga police station. Police walirespond vizuri, hawakukawia, hata Red Cross haikukawia, wazimamoto hawakukawia, walikuja. Although tulikuwa na mvua ndio ilifanya delay, lakini tunashukuru, tunaomba usaidizi kutoka kwa county government of Laikipia, kama wanaweza kutusaidia na more divers wakuja watusaidie ili tuweze kupata mpendo wetu, mwili wa mpendo wetu.
Alikuja kututembelea siku ya Ijumaa, kututembelea kwa urafiki. So kwa harakati hizo akawa aende kutembea aone T-Falls na kupiga picha, angalau aende kuonyeshana nyumbani alikuwa sehemu fulani. So kwa hiyo harakati ndiposa hii mkasa ikamkumba, akateleza akaanguka kwa maji. So tumejaribu mpaka saa hizi na serikali tumeng'ang'ana kumtafuta na bado hatujafanikiwa.
Tumepambana kabisa na watumishi wa serikali hapa, polisi wa Nyahururu. Tumezunguka, tumeenda mpaka mahali panaitwa Rwadhia huko. Tumeona barabara yenyewe ni mbaya, lakini askari wetu wamefanya juhudi, wametusaidia, na lakini tunaomba county government kama wakiweza watusaidie, watupatie more divers wakuja watusaidie ili tuweze kumpata mpendwa wetu, ndio tuweze kujua namna gani.
Bodaboda riders in Nairobi County have expressed their concerns following their counterparts' mysterious death. The deceased was in their Uasin Gishu Bodaboda Riders Association chair died mysteriously. Now they have called upon the DCI to investigate the murder, and Leonida Njoki tells us more of that story.
As the cases of killings of Bodaboda riders continue to rise among other abuses, now the National Association of the Bodaboda Riders has asked the relevant institution to conduct a thorough investigation about the incident. Benson Bigendi, the treasurer of the association, said that the death of Abraham Kimargo, the chairman of the Bodaboda Riders in Uasin Gishu County, is heartbreaking.
I would want to say this and condemn this in the most, in the most heaviest, from the deepest heart of my soul, and say one very interesting thing. If you people are going to kill Bodaboda guys in this equation, remember one thing. Bodaboda guys are human beings. They are people's kids. I do not understand why we would kill someone in that heinous act and not feel anything.
Kenneth Onyango, the BAK Secretary General, stated that they are not entitled to any election conducted, therefore emphasizing that the Bodaboda riders have rights like any other Kenyan.
Bodaboda Association of Kenya is not the only association that is running the affairs of Bodaboda people. We also have other associations, but we are not satisfied on how government is handling the Bodaboda Association. We have an association that has been given undue advantage by government. It's called Bodaboda Safety Association. They've been given an office by government. Government is paying the office, government is paying their bills, and everything they are doing is government. Yet it is a private entity. The government need to come out very clearly and tell us whether there is a kitty that has been set aside for associations so that we can also be beneficiaries of the same kitty. Because if you give to only one association the advantage, then you're actually leaving other associations disadvantaged, and other associations are left crying because we don't have that due advantage that's coming directly from the public coffers.
According to the officials, the industry has employed more than 1 million people who only depend on the Bodaboda job to earn a living.
As per now, boda sector has changed, and I think boda sector has now people who are actually managing it the right way. It is not that thing that people used to think that boda guys are hooligans. And Mark, you need to understand that boda guys, we have people with degrees, we have people with masters, we have people with law education. So boda is employing, up to now, we sit down, boda is actually employing a minimum of around 1.7 million people. And in the same act, if we are employing 1.7 million riders who are on the road currently, then how many mouths are we feeding?
The boda operators are urging the government to carry out thorough investigation about the brutal murder of the Uasin Gishu County boda chairman. Reporting for Mwangaza Prime News from Nairobi County, Leonida Njoki.
Thank you, Leonida, for that report. And with that report, we come to the end of our broadcast tonight. Many thanks for staying with us from the beginning. And keep watching Mwangaza TV for much more. My name is Daisy Paul, and our sign language interpreter is Naomi Matthew. Have a good evening.
Unatazama Mwangaza TV, tumaini lako.